Welcome back, my friends, to the D-Rate the Hate podcast. I am your host, Wilk from WilksWorld.com, and this is going to be episode 81. This week, we're going to be talking about road rage, hate on the go. But first, we did not create the hate, but with your help, we can derate the hate. It's all about us as individuals, so what have you done today to make your life a better life? What have you done today to make the world a better place? Bettering the world one attitude at a time is our mission. That is exactly what we're going to do with the D-Rate the Hate podcast. One big favor I have to ask of you is if you find something in one of our episodes that helps you better the world, or you think can help better the world, please share it with your friends. Please pass it along, share it on social media, leave us some feedback. Go to Apple Podcast, leave a rating, leave some feedback, or wherever you get your audio. But share the episode, share it far and wide, because there's a lot of negativity out there. And the D-Rate the Hate podcast, as I said, bettering the world one attitude at a time. And every time you share one of our episodes, it may be the thing that somebody needs to hear today to make their life a better life, and in turn making the world a better place. So get out there, share it if you can. And, if it does something for you, drop me an email, wilk@wilksworld.com. I'd love to hear some feedback. So let's get this show on the road. Episode 81, like I said, talking about road rage, hate on the go. And the reason I'm talking about this today is, I've been in the transportation industry for 22 years now. This December will be 22 years. I have been in the commercial truck driving industry. I've spent an awful lot of time on the road, well over 1 million miles personally. And then I've been managing drivers now for several years as well. So not only have I personally seen a lot of not so great things out on the road, I've also heard a lot of stories because I've been involved with I've been involved with truckers and been on the road now for 22 years. 1999, December 1999 was the first time I personally drove a big rig on the highway, and got a lot of stories to tell. But this past week I spent some time in a truck, filling in on some routes and doing some different things. And it just amazes me how in such a short period of time, 1 week, the things that I saw on the highway this week, up to and including being cut off so close that I couldn't even see the car in front of me as it shot from the far left lane to take an exit in front of the semi I was driving. And another instance where a woman was so incredibly angry at me for some reason I'm not really sure of, that she was flipping me off with such aggression I thought she was going to wreck her own car. But anyway, so we're going to talk a little bit about that, some causes for road rage, maybe throwing a little statistics in there. But like I said, everybody's hearing in the news these days about the supply chain thing and what's going on with the lack of truck drivers and how that is affecting how we get our goods. So that's definitely making things, a little bit more difficult these days with respect to everything. I don't care if it's food, toys, whatever. Everything in this country moves on a truck at one time or another. So truck drivers are an incredibly important part of America and what makes America work. I also want you to think about what are those truck drivers are putting up with every single day out there. We think about road rage, and the fact is the average person in this country right now, and obviously there's a lot of people out there that have a much shorter one, and then there's others who have much longer. That's why it's called an average. But I think the average, based on census.gov, the average work commute last year in this country was somewhere around 26, 27 minutes. And so however many miles that is it 25, 30 miles maybe that the average person is for going for a one-way work commute. The average truck driver is out there, and if you're a route driver, you might only be driving 100, 150 miles a day. And then if you're a long-haul truck driver working over the road, you may be driving 600, 650 miles in any given day. So just imagine the amount of things that those guys and gals that are out there driving these trucks, driving these big rig trucks, moving America, moving the goods and services that we use every day. Imagine the amount of stuff that they encounter. And then I want you to think about the fact that in this pandemic age, the things that have happened in our country and how things like road rage have increased significantly over the period of pandemic, because let's face it, people have just gone nuts because of the lockdowns, because of the decimation of so many businesses and people's livelihoods. There's a lot more drunk driving. There's a lot more drug use. There's a lot more people that have just lost their minds, and they're out there on the roads with us every single day. So think about these things and think about, let's just get to the core. What are the kinds of things that cause road rage? What kinds of things? I mean, I've seen, like I said, in this past week, I had somebody cut me off the other day. I was in Minneapolis, and as I'm going down the highway, there was a person coming up on my left. I got a full-length semi, 53-foot trailer. Person coming up on my left. Didn't think anything of it until they decided to catch the exit that was on my right-hand side. And in order to do it, they punched it and swung from the left lane, shot right across in front of the semi that I was driving, so close that I couldn't even see the trunk of their car. They got, how we didn't collide, I don't know, but they decided that exit was worth their life. And how easily that could have gone wrong, and how often truck drivers see those kind of things. It's crazy. Now that wasn't a road rage incident. That was just a full-on stupid incident. And I could have let that get to me. People get cut off every day. Like I said, the average commute, maybe 26, 27 minutes. And a lot of people experience road rage incidents every day. People get cut off. People are tailgated. And what does that end up doing to them for the rest of their day? How do they allow that to get to them? Another incident that I experienced this past week was, again, I'm not sure what I did, if I maybe had a hat on that this gal didn't like, or exactly what I did that made her so mad. But as I was going by her, she looked over at me like I just stole everything that she'd worked for her whole life. She looked over at me. She started flipping me off with such aggression. I just literally, I don't know how she didn't wreck her car with the fit that she was throwing in her own driver's seat as we were going 65 miles an hour down the highway. And about 5 miles down that highway, we came to a stoplight, and again, she's looking over at me so mad. I have to believe that she didn't, thought I was somebody that I wasn't, or whatever. But anyways, it doesn't matter. The point that I'm trying to make is, have you ever been in a situation where you are the one that gets mad at somebody else? Maybe somebody intentionally cut you off. Maybe somebody unintentionally cut you off. Maybe they were tailgating you, or maybe they were going too slow and you decided to pass them, and then they figured out that they were going too slow, so then they sped up and then passed you again. Whatever the case may be, we see this stuff all the time. And when we see those things, we often see those people at the stoplight a couple blocks, a couple miles, whatever. We see those same people, right? And they may be, just like this gal was, very, very upset. Very upset. Obviously, something tripped her trigger, and she was incredibly mad. And you just have to wonder, how long did she let that incident, whatever that incident was, headed, whatever, or if I like I said, I still have no idea what happened, but I know she was very mad. And I wonder, I don't give a lot of thought to it, but I wonder how long she let that ruin her day. Because I go back to personal accountability when I see things like this. When I see somebody that angry and get that upset about somebody, is it just the anonymity of being in a different vehicle and knowing that you'll probably never see that person again? Is that part of what allows you to get so mad that you'll flip off a complete stranger and just go berserk in your car? And I didn't notice, but what if she had kids in the back of her car? What if she had kids in the back of her car and she was displaying that kind of behavior for them? Does that then become a learned behavior for those kids? You just have to wonder what people are thinking. And like I said, I go back to the idea of personal accountability. I talk in this podcast a lot about personal accountability and having the ability to control our response. When we get involved in a situation, we can either allow that situation to control us or we can control that situation. We have the ability as individuals to control our response. She obviously chose to go berserk and ballistic in her car and flip off a stranger. I could have done the same thing when that person cut me off, but I think about it. When I think about those things, I try to think of, maybe they just, who knows what's happening in their life at that time. They obviously made a very, very poor decision. And I think up to 97%, if I looked at the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration numbers correctly, up to 97% of traffic accidents involve human error. Okay? And error means they made a poor decision at some point. They did something wrong that caused something bad to happen. And maybe that is during a bout of aggression. I mean, aggression and aggressive behavior can certainly cause a person to commit errors. But, when I think of personal accountability and people getting upset to the point where they are physically losing their mind in a vehicle that's going 65 miles an hour, that's certainly going to drastically increase the likelihood of an error that can cause an accident, which in turn could cause a fatality, right? So 66% of traffic fatalities in this country cause some type of aggressive driving. Now, most of those are from speeding. They aren't all road rage, but a lot of them are too. So we have to think about it. Personal accountability plays a big factor in there. I've talked to a number of police officers and law enforcement folks that have the responsibility of not only speed patrol, but then investigating traffic accidents and things that happen, and it's a lot of time it's just a matter of, well, if they would have been, if they would have just slowed down, or if they hadn't taken that curve so fast, or had they not been weaving in and out of traffic. That's another thing I saw the other day. There was literally a gal, and as we were coming through a town in northern Minnesota, this gal comes flying by me. The speed limit dropped from 55 miles an hour down to 40 as we're coming into town. I bring the vehicle down to 40 miles an hour like I'm supposed to, and she decides that she liked the 55 to 60 mile an hour speed limit better. She made a left, swung around me into the left lane, just about taking another vehicle head on coming into the 40 miles an hour. I saw her pass two more people. A very small town, but I saw her pass two more people. Craziest thing about this is she was one of those people who had her left foot up on the dash next to the steering wheel. As she's driving, she's just cruising through town at 55, 60 miles an hour. And so you got to wonder, I would consider that aggressive driving. I would also consider that absolutely insane. And the fact that she put other people's lives in risk. Don't know what's going on in her life that makes her think that that's okay. But those things happen. Those are the things that truck drivers see. Everybody sees it a little bit, because you may be one of those that drives like 26 miles to work in the morning. But think about those truck drivers that are out there driving 150 miles a day, every day that they're running their routes in small town America delivering products. Or the over-the-road truck driver that's out there driving 600 miles on America's highways, and all the things that they see. Every truck driver is not perfect. Every person is not perfect. We don't live in a perfect world, and there's going to be crazy stuff that happens in every profession. But those truck drivers that are out there trying to deliver the goods see a lot of crazy stuff. And some of it leads to some very, very bad circumstances, some very bad things. So just keep that in mind. Again, this past year and a half during the pandemic, and I'll put some links in the show notes, but the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration in the first 6 months of this year, 2021, saw the largest ever increase in a 6-month period of traffic fatalities, and a lot of them were due to aggressive driving. So what causes aggressive driving? I mean, we can think about it in a number of different ways, but a lot of it comes down to, again, like I said, personal accountability. But, somebody's late for work and their mind's in a different place because now they're going to be late for this meeting, or they need to get the kids to school on time, or, they just got in a fight with their significant other and their mind's in the wrong place, and then they go jump in the car and they just need to go for a drive and they're not paying attention. Who knows what these things are? But what we don't want to do, and this is why I call it road rage, hate on the go. What we don't want to do is we don't want to let that driver that's in front of us maybe going too slow take us to the point where now we're mad and we're going to try and go cut them off. Or like another thing I saw the other day, literally 2 trucks going down the highway, 2 pickup trucks, and one was going too slow in the left lane. The other guy gets, loses his mind, go ahead and pass him on the right, gets up in front of him, and then slams on his brake. 2 vehicles going 65 miles an hour. 2 large pickups. We're talking about pickups that are probably 4,500 pounds apiece, 65 miles an hour. One gets in front of the other one and then slams on the brakes. So the other one literally had to lock him up going down the highway. And there's a lot of other people behind them. What does that do? That puts everybody on that highway at risk because the one guy was going too slow in the left lane, which is very frustrating. I get it. But is that worth putting several lives, including your own, at risk? I don't think so. That's a bad thing to do. That's why it's called road rage, hate on the go. That's what this episode's all about. Think about the other people in the other vehicles and then realize that you have the ability to choose your response. You are the person in control of you, and allowing somebody that you don't know or will never see again probably take control of your emotions and allow you to do something stupid that can get other people killed. Why would you do it? It doesn't make any sense, right? So don't let it happen. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Just a couple things that were on my mind this week. Road rage, hate on the go. Truck drivers out there, we thank you very much for all you're doing. I know you see a lot out there. I know because I've been there. And with everything that we see on the roads today, it's probably as dangerous as any other time that you've been out there doing the job that you're doing. And a lot of times that goes totally unappreciated, but certainly not by me and my family, because we know without truckers, there is nothing else that's going to happen right in this country. With that said, I'm going to wrap things up. I'll just say, get out there. Don't be the one out there slamming on your brakes in front of other people. Don't let others choose how you're going to react in traffic. Be kind to one another. Be grateful for everything that you've got. And remember, it's up to you to make each and every day the day that you want it to be. Again, I am Wilk from WilksWorld.com. I so greatly appreciate everybody that's listening. Please share us with your friends. Share us every place you can. Leave us ratings and feedbacks wherever you get your audio. And that I'm going to back on out of here. We'll catch you next week. Take care.